Hi there, welcome to today's session, specifically for CurateZim, titles that don't fit. People will read you out of context and give you titles that don't fit. Listen to that again. People will read you out of context and give you titles that don't fit. I remember being in school and I had friends that told me I was bipolar. I remember they said something along the lines of, you can be super optimistic in one breath and super depressive in the next. I remember having another friend during my college years saying, you're a callous and cold piece of work because you can cut people off like it's nothing. The thing that I've learned about this, or what I've taken from this, is there are so many people that have given me titles that do not fit. And because I'm trying to find who I am, I take these titles and I use them as the basis of my life. So it's given way to comments like, well, you know I'm a thinker, I can cut people off and that's okay. And other platitudes to actively justify the labels that people have given me. Were they right? No, not in the least. In the first instance, calling anyone bipolar is a detrimental form of mentalism that undermines and demeans the struggles and the difficulties that people struggling with mental health conditions such as bipolar disorder or schizophrenia into nothing. It demeans their experiences and it becomes callous labels that are thrown around, yet they are real life struggles that are someone's lived experience on a day-by-day basis. So no, they were not right. At the very best, I could have been indecisive, but I was not in any way bipolar, and that should not have been a term that was used so loosely. Can I cut people off? Yes I can, but it's not something that I do easily or something that I do in haste. It is when I've been hurt to an extent where I feel I cannot go on, and it's something that tears me apart to do. So I can come across as inconsistent, but that's because at my core I'm a hopeless romantic and a starry-eyed idealist who believes in a utopian world and wishes we could have fairies. And I see the good in everyone when sometimes it's not even there. But because I know and realize that my imaginary world is just that, imaginary, I am the most critical cynic because I know human beings can and most often will be sucky because striving for higher ideals is too much work. That's how I realized that for someone I might be indecisive or seem erratic, but in actual fact I'm just being myself. Am I a thinker? Not in the least. My primary function or default setting is to examine everything around me using a logical lens. And it makes me a superstar in my professional work and also in dealing with problems and general day-to-day activities. In my personal life, however, it sucks. My emotions are super badass. And whenever I'm faced with a struggle and I don't know what to do and they decide to go into overdrive, I try by all means to use logic, and they laugh their asses off and say something like, oh child, relax your hormones. Then proceed to wreak havoc in my heart and mind. This leads me to feeling more than I want to and experiencing every emotion in HD, which is intense and oftentimes exhausting. Like I said, Can I cut people off? Yes, I can. But it hurts like hell, and I only do it when I'm hurt beyond all reason and the situation is toxic. I came to these realizations on my journey of self-discovery. So I started off by taking personality tests, and I started by looking into different aspects of myself. And I found that although the tests are not all in fact inclusive, they cannot summate entire human experiences, they did give me the ability to flesh out a sense of who I was, and they helped me put names to faces of things that I could never fully articulate, which was really, really liberating. The next phase was a lot harder. I started journaling through particularly painful experiences in a bid to find out who I had been, how I had been changed by this experience, and who I had become as a result. I felt like a rock shaped by the elementals that are life's tools, and I had to ask myself how the waves of the ocean had frayed my edges. I had to ask myself how I would deal with the fault lines tracing their way through me in the heat of life's difficulties. So these were questions that only I could answer. I'm still trying to find ways to find out who I am and to actively create this version of me that is improved and who I want to be. But I've realized one thing. We crave to be understood and accepted, so when people speak into our lives with what they perceive as our deepest truths, we cling to it because at least someone's trying to get me. At least someone's trying to understand. And they should be objective, so they must be right. I'm learning the hard way that the only person who knows my truth is me. I could be damaged, twisted, and broken, but only I know why that is, and the strides I've made in a bid to heal. Is it scary to dive deep into the recesses of our minds? Yes. I mean, have you seen the horrors in there? They're brutal. But it's worth it. The way I see it, we are all Bruce Banner in our conscious efforts to be decent, functioning human beings. But we're driven by the hulk of our emotions, genetics, past experiences and traumas, hidden desires that follow no rhyme or reason. And yet our subconscious drives our measly efforts at normalcy. It's a deep and dark dive into the depths within us, but it's worth it because through journaling, therapy, internal discussions with your inner child, whatever works, seeking professional assistance, you can get and gain a better understanding of who you are and start creating the version of you would like to be. So, in closing, I ask you, what are the labels that you've been given that don't fit? Are you willing to dive into your truth to find your story? In our great journey of life, are we writing our truth on the page of each day? Or are we inscribing the half-truths and vague lies we've been